Um, so
Okay.
shows.
Yes.
Are we including TV shows too? I mean, like the live action TV shows. I mean, like we need. Should we be talking about those?
We can talk about them briefly. I think we probably should split them up if we're going to be fair, because we're going to do the same with the movies.
Okay, so we'll talk about the. Do you want to talk about the live action shows briefly?
Yeah, there's not much to say about those.
Okay, so there's the old ones that no one really watches. They're like DC.
Spider-Man and
Yeah.
and Flash.
Then there's a briefly Japanese Spider.
Yeah, there was. Spider-Man with robots.
And the
Old
Flash.
Superman, just like a lot of Superman ones.
Lois and Super. Wait, was it
Lois
Lois
and
and
Clark.
Clark? Lois and Clark. That was popular for the first season, but then after they got together, I think people didn't like it anymore. I watched some of them, and they're just okay.
Yeah, they weren't bad. They weren't really good either. They're just sort of there. But back then, they were shit to a lot of people.
And then Marvel got out of the live action.
Yeah, game, and they're trying to boost it back up, though. Although I'm not looking forward to like Agent S.H.I.E.L.D., but that hasn't been out yet, so I can't really say. Although I don't think it'll be good.
Agent. I think is it just Shield or was it Agent of Shield?
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I think, right? Or is it just S.H.I.E.L.D.? I don't know. It's something with S.H.I.E.L.D.
Well, they might say Agents of Shield because they don't want to get confused with the FX show The Shield, which might be a big thing.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of hoping that'll be good. We're gonna watch it though. I'm watching it. I don't know about you, but I'm watching it. And DC,
I can't say whether I am or not, but
and DC, it looks like they're trying to keep up at least one show on the CW at all times. So they had Smallville, which was for 10 years, and was very hit or miss. A lot of misses.
that shit was my show. But God, yeah, it was. Oh God, just every other week, someone's having Lana. Oh my God, Lana's a vampire. She's a witch. She died. She got cloned. She's blind.
It was
Shit, you not.
It was a bad soap opera with comic book characters, and that's why we watched it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Everyone watches a bad soap opera every once in a while. I think everyone should just admit it. They watch a bad soap opera just because it's just fun to watch.
Hey, it was comics. It totally doesn't count. Oh God, it has some silly parts though, and it's just
like Pete. Like, didn't he get superpowers from a chewing gum or something? That was Lana.
something ridiculous.
Lana, the vampire, like sorority.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So let's see. We discussed it. There's vampire, witch, possessed by a witch, blind, clone, dead,
Kryptonite. And like was she like Kryptonite or something, or
Maybe.
is she getting close to him or something?
I think something crazy like that. It got poisoned or something. I don't know.
It was just stupid. Anyway.
Yeah. But that one, that was probably one of the longest running cartoons. Please, TV show.
Yeah, it lasted for 10 years, which is
Impressive.
yeah. Like there was a couple good episodes. Like I like the Legion when the Legion showed up. That was interesting.
I still did not see that.
What?
Still did not see that one. I wanted to see that one. I guess if I want to see it bad enough, I could track it down. But I haven't seen it yet.
Well, you mean I thought you saw that one where the Legion shows up from the future and
I saw something involving them.
okay.
I have no idea.
That was a good episode. Anyway, it was mostly a lot of misses. It was just stupid soap opera, but it was alright.
And Clark saying, I can't tell anybody my secret the other week. And everyone knowing his secret anyway.
And he should have become Superman by season 3.
Yeah, instead of taking 10 years to do it. But, let's see, Marvel, I don't think they had a lot of live action ones.
Yeah, but in continuing DC,
Yeah.
they had, they were going to do a Wonder Woman thing, but apparently the pilot was so bad, like, it was just awful, and the costume looked awful that they're never going to show it.
Well,
They're not even going to give us a taste of the pilot. so that never went to air. I think they're trying to get another version of that out called Amazon.
and that whole CW lineup sort of name.
Yeah, where they don't actually call it the hero, but yeah, and then the one,
Gotta kill.
but
Until they killed it. Yeah.
the big one going on now is Arrow.
Yeah, I still haven't seen it.
I saw the first episode, and it was
Alright.
alright. It wasn't bad.
It's like it's Green Arrow, though. It's like, who cares?
It wasn't bad.
But, okay, and then you can't forget about like some of their old shows, too. I mean, there's the live-action Batman one.
That's enjoyable just for fun.
It's ridiculous, and they had a good sense of humor about it, I feel. I mean, there's one episode where the Riddler sued Batman. Like, he set him up so that Batman would assault him. Because Batman thought he was going to rob someplace, and then he sued him for assault. And it's just like, that's fucking hilarious. Like, where did he come up with that stuff? It's like, it's great. So yeah, it was enjoyable.
Didn't Robin, like the guy who played Robin, become like a porn star? I'm not kidding. And like, he wrote his biography, I was having sex with all these women. I'm not kidding.
Holy porn star, Batman!
He wrote like a biography, kind of like that. Or,
oh wow, that is impressive. See, I got my start in Batman. Hey, you know what? I don't want to make this joke in poor taste, but that sounds like something that would happen to Robin in the comics. You know, he just gets traumatized. God, it's horrible. Oh God, holy porn, Batman!
but yeah,
So
I think he was.
I think you're right. It's horrible though.
I'm not sure if he was in porn. I don't know.
Someone somewhere was in porn for some show.
Yeah, okay. He might have just slept with a lot of women, but but just still, you don't have to really think about like Robin sleeping with a lot of women.
How could you? Although they try to push it down your throat like later on in the comics because they're like, Robin's not gay. Never mind, his flamboyant costume is Robin in his Nightwing. Because you know they do make Dick Grayson like pretty much a ladies' man in there. I guess to try to make up for that stuff. But yeah, so they had a live action Batman show, which was enjoyably bad. And just like, actually there were some witty moments there. There was actually a live action Wonder Woman show, like from 70s. Several Superman shows there.
Yeah.
Then of course the old school Spider-Man. And you gotta like that thing. Who couldn't, you know, here comes the Spider-Man, you know. There's old Incredible Hulk with Lou Ferrigno as an Incredible Hulk. Like, let's see, what else? There's a Superboy show, weirdly enough. Yeah, okay, so, and we talked about some of the newer stuff. But there's a lot of hits and misses with those. But I don't really think the live action shows are all that great. And I can't say it's any different from Marvel. Oh wait, I've been mixing them up, haven't I? I just put them all together.
Okay.
But yeah. Okay, I put them together. Yes, I did.
Okay, I don't see any evidence the guy went to porn, or the guy who played Robin went to porn. But you see, yeah, so I retract that for now. Yeah, I don't want to accuse some guy of being in porn when he wasn't. So you were in porn. You were in porn. You were in porn. I was in porn. Yeah, you were in porn.
All you comic book actors are in porn. Even Adam was. But yeah, so there's a lot of different shows from Marvel and from DC. Neither of them were great, and it's like it kind of spans the years. There hasn't really been anything new from Marvel in a while. I mean, I think the only one I could really think of from Marvel is Spider-Man. Was there another one?
I don't know. We'll move on to animated.
Just give me a second. Yeah, I can't think of any, so yeah, let's move on.
Yeah, those live action shows haven't had that much influence anyway.
They're just sort of there.
So, the animated shows.
Okay, as far as the animated shows, I'm just gonna go right out the back. I think DC wins. I think you could call it a draw for the live action, but DC kind of wins.
Are we animated movies too?
No.
In the shows? Okay.
We'll get to that when we get to the movies.
Alright, well, yeah, it's not even close.
DC trumps them. I think partially just Bruce Timm.
Bruce Timm, the DC animated universe, it's just not even close. There's nothing comparable to it.
No, not at all. It just they womp them. It's ridiculous.
And like I know, like the Marvel shows of the '90s, like Spider-Man, X-Men, and all those, they are connected. And they have like crossovers, but it's not the same. It's not even close.
As a whole, not as a. It's like in terms of quality, there's only one Marvel show, and only one that could compare on that level of awesomeness, and that is Spectacular Spider-Man. But it doesn't have that connection like everything else, and it's its own entity. So,
Yeah, Spectacular Spider-Man is one of the best animated shows and is the best interpretation of Spider-Man bar none.
Yeah, and probably the best Marvel cartoon, honestly.
It is.
But yeah, for overall DC, dear God, it's just like the connectivity is just...
We like Young Justice even though it had problems.
Yeah, and it's the same guy who did Spectacular Spider-Man too. So.
Hopefully he finds like more work.
He
but,
just can't get a break.
But I guess like he had problems with Marvel, so he went to DC.
And now he's having problems with DC, so it's like, what is he gonna do?
Well, I guess it was more with Sony than anything. They had the animated rights at the time, and now Marvel has the animated rights. So who knows? He might go back to Marvel again because it wasn't really his problem with Marvel per se.
Yeah.
So yeah, I prefer DC. Justice League was awesome. I had some problems with Justice League Unlimited. There's a lot of good episodes in Justice League Unlimited, but I didn't like some of the side character episodes.
Yeah, it kind of distracted from, whole point, the real reason why you were there, which is a shame. I mean, they had pretty well-rounded characters all around. They actually had, like, decent heroes and fairly decent villains, honestly. And, yeah, everyone was pretty well-rounded and the stories were pretty good.
It's the same problem I have with the second season of Young Justice. I wanted them to remain focused on the core characters, but the core characters often got lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just
lost
wish
the focus,
I just wish they maintained focus.
It would have been much better, because episodes where they did get that focus back, they were amazing.
They were amazing.
It's like, why the hell aren't y'all doing that? And you think they would have learned from Justice League, but guess not. But yeah, because you can't really go on like the old shows, because I mean, like with DC, they had stuff like the Super Friends and stuff like that, and that was weak. And then you got to the 90s, and that's where it really kicked off, I believe, Because they had all those old cartoons back then. It's like,
meanwhile, at the Hall of Justice.
Yeah, right? And then there's even like a Batman Scooby-Doo crossover. It's like, what the shit? It's like, really? But yeah, I mean, they had this whole like big universe, and I think that was great. Because you had like a Batman, the animated series was pretty damn good, and then you have various seasons, even though they changed the title, it was still the same thing.
And then you have like
Batman
in like the Marvel anime, like Spider-Man the animated series and X-Men, they would have like a crossover now every then.
But it really didn't count.
You didn't really believe they were actually like the same.
No,
in the same universe.
No,
I could believe Batman and Superman were in the same universe.
Yeah, I mean they've had crossover episodes with each other, and it made sense. It's like, yeah, it's the same, and then it was cemented by the Justice League. I will say, like Batman, like the animated series is much better than Superman animated series. And they had some pretty decent success with Batman Beyond too, I feel.
Yeah, I really like Batman Beyond.
Yeah.
I feel like that was really underrated.
It was. I think most people just weren't able to handle, it not being Bruce Wayne. But it's like, if you don't look at it that way, then it's not a problem. It's like, this isn't Bruce Wayne. They never said he was Bruce Wayne.
This is a different Batman.
Yeah, it is. It is his own little thing,
I think they were planning on doing a Batman Beyond movie, but it just didn't get off the ground. I mean, I'd still like to see one.
Yeah, and besides, like, I mean, I don't know what you... Yeah, I would like to see one, too.
Not like a whole franchise, but just like one movie.
Yeah.
Like a one-off movie. I wouldn't mind.
I think I would like more seeing it, And, I mean, for Batman Beyond, honestly, I thought of it as, like, Terry McGinnis. And I thought of, like, yeah, this is Terry McGinnis' Batman, but you don't really think, oh my god, this isn't Batman, Bruce Wayne Batman, oh my god. Let's see, and we had a bunch of different stuff. Young Justice was good too.
X-Men Evolution we liked.
Yeah.
Although it kind of
had its problems.
Yeah, I didn't like the ending.
When they tried to bring in the apocalypse and they just kind of botched that.
I felt like it was very rushed. It was very rushed.
Probably was.
I guess that's more because there were limits on episodes and they knew the end was coming and they wouldn't be back for next season. There were good parts of that finale, but it was rushed. There were some bad episodes with some bad humor in there.
Yeah, I didn't care for the Toads. The Todd. Scrubs. But I didn't care for the Toads' presence in there too much. But Marvel didn't really have a lot of great ones. I mean, they had some okay ones. I mean, like, X-Men was okay. Spider-Man in the animated series was okay, but then any other Spider-Man interpretation that isn't the Spectacular Spider-Man, that's a cartoon, kind of sucks after you see that.
MTV Spider-Man's awful. The sequel to Spider-Man, the animated series.
Yeah, Spider-Man Unlimited, it was really weird.
It really weird, just bad.
Wolverine and X-Men is missing something.
Yeah, Wolverine and X-Men is a very weird show because it felt like it felt like it was close to getting somewhere but never reached it. It was like missing something,
And it didn't reach it because it got canceled.
it was very like I feel like I'm missing something.
Well, that's because they started off in the middle. They assumed you know not only the X-Men storyline, but then you've been paying attention to the show's universe.
Oh yeah, that's
the major thing. It's like they expect you to know what was going on in the show, so when you jump in on that first episode, and you could look it up, various sources. The episode that I saw that was the first episode, but I could have sworn I just came into the fucking middle of it.
Okay, the thing was, it started in the middle of the plot, and it's like. We don't need the X-Men forming origin story. We don't need that.
You know, you've seen it a million times.
But the thing is, like, we need like establishment of like what the characters were like before they got separated.
But here, you don't get that. You just get that they're together. There's Jean. There's an explosion. Something happens to her.
Well, remember. Like, it starts off. Wolverine has to like track down all the X-Men.
Yeah.
And so they're not even together. So we don't even know like what they were like before the explosion. And so we're like. I don't know how they changed. I don't know why they care about so much about Jean Grey. Like, I know what it's like in the comics, but you expect me to you can't expect me to rely on my feelings for the comics for this show. And so, like, yeah, you had decent episodes, and like you're like, I should be liking this more, but I can't because I don't know. I feel like I'm missing like half the story. But like, I feel like there should have been some establishing episodes at least. Or like establishing arc before we got to them separating.
Yeah. So, and they didn't do that, so. And then you don't hear too much about Marvel these days. I mean, there's a couple things here and there. There was Avengers, and then they did a reboot, and...
Well,
not a reboot, I guess. So.
You had Avengers Earth Mightiest Heroes, which had like 50-some episodes or something like that. And a lot of people like that. We haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
We probably should, but you keep avoiding it.
I have no interest.
So there's that, and we are going to watch it in the future eventually.
No, we're not.
Okay, and they're rebooting that. Is Avengers Assemble.
Yeah, and there's some weird side projects. Like there was a anime version of the X-Men, and then there was the Wolverine show.
Yeah, there's Wolverine.
There was like really one that was just about Wolverine.
There's Iron Man.
And yeah, there's like the old Iron Man show.
There's Blade.
A new Iron Man show. Huh?
There's Blade.
Is there now?
There's a Blade anime.
Interesting. Yeah, and then there's a couple stuff over the years. There's some things that aren't really worth mentioning, but I'm gonna mention them just because they were there. Like, I mean, there was Incredible Hulk, which was it's just sort of there.
We used to watch that, but I
don't know why.
It was kind of
Yeah, and then there was the old Iron Man show, and that was just boring. I mean, awful, just completely boring.
They put no money into it, too.
Yeah, you're right. They put no money into it, no real effort. And besides, most of the things that I think would make Tony Stark interesting, they had to take away. I mean, they couldn't make him this, like, unstable guy. They couldn't make him drink. They couldn't make him be the jerk that he is. They tried to paint him as a good guy, and that really isn't who Tony Stark is. And, Fantastic Four. I know you don't like it, and honestly, I'm not a huge fan. But I do give respect to them because they were actually pretty damn accurate to the comics.
There was also a cartoon reboot one that was on Nickelodeon for a while, but I didn't really watch.
What, the Iron Man?
No,
Fantastic Four too?
Yeah.
There was an MTV one too.
Yeah, there was one on Nickelodeon, so but I didn't really watch it. I don't think anyone really watched it.
I didn't know it existed.
Yeah, because I think that's a big problem.
Yeah.
It's probably why it's still not on. Well, it's not on anymore, but another upcoming project, that's going to be side by side in Disney XD's Marvel block or whatever it is. Their version of the is going to be Hulk. It was like Hulk Agents of Smash.
Yeah.
So it's going to revolve around the Hulk universe and She-Hulk and Red Hulk and all of them. And I'm not really into the Hulk universe. And I'm not looking forward to that.
It's boring. Oh, and if we're going to talk about Disney, let's not forget the most horrible abomination that they could have come up with. Ultimate Spider-Man. And not the Ultimate Spider-Man like in the comics. Not the Ultimate Spider-Man like in a video game. This Spider-Man is ultimate because he's going to be the best Spider-Man he could be. He's going to be the Ultimate Spider-Man. It's like, what the shit is that show? It's like, have you seen it? It's awful.
No.
It's awful in every way. I mean,
I just don't want to watch it because I'm afraid what it will do to my memory.
they pander to kids. No kid wants to see Spider-Man like that. It's like, it's just ridiculous in every way.
I saw like a weird clip where it's like, I don't know, like episode, like he goes to Boston and like for some reason he's treated better in Boston, so he's thinking about staying in Boston instead of being a New York hero. It's like, that's a really weird plot line.
Yeah, they try to do this thing where like, we're trying to be funny, can you tell? And they do like these stupid gimmicks. It's very cartoony, it's very childish, it's very immature and annoying. Although I will say this, and I swear they themselves were not actually trying to be funny, but it's one thing that I actually found funny from it, and also a perfect example why I don't like the show, is, so I gave it 2 tries because, I still like, hey, Spectacular Spider-Man was awesome. I wonder if this is going to be the same as, like, God, no. There's an episode where he teams up with some superheroes, some of the people that you really don't know, like Iron Fist and Nova, and people like that, right? And so he teams up. I mean, well, he's in a weird kind of rivalry with Nova. And they're like, oh, no, I can take Dr. Doom. No, I can take Dr. Doom. And they know he's on S.H.I.E.L.D.'s most wanted list. And so they go to his country. And they didn't think there was anything wrong with that. Spider-Man's supposed to be a genius. And so they capture Dr. Doom. And they're like, oh, yeah, I'm going to take him back and all this stuff. And it's like, it was this whole plan all along. It's like, you didn't think that it was going to go bad? And also, there was one point before they captured him that he totally owned them, and that was, like, funny. It's like, what did you expect? And so it's just like, the whole episode, it just illustrated everything that was wrong with that episode. It's like, they're dumb. And they don't get it. And there's no reason why they should succeed. Because he managed to get in the shield, and he caused so much damage. And it wasn't really through them that they succeeded.
And,
it's horrible.
What'd you think of, we never finished Green Lantern, the new CG Green Lantern.
Yeah.
But apparently that got darker. As it went on.
Which is unfortunate that we stopped watching it. So yeah, I guess like most of Marvel shows are bad. And then there's some that are really good. And in DC, they definitely win. I don't know what to say about Green Lantern because we did stop watching it, but I know it got kind of boring. That's why I didn't really keep up with it.
Yeah, we hit a weak string of episodes, and I don't know if it got better later on. But there's also Beware the Batman. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be coming out, and I don't know what that's going to be like. That's continuing the trend of the CG style.
Yeah, and I'm not a fan of that.
I don't like the CG style. I prefer like the look of Young Justice.
And for the record, I want to point out, in case anyone out there was wondering, it's like it's not because it's CG. No, I've seen good CG, and it's just like the way they usually handle these. They either try to be, stylistic and it doesn't go well, or it's just like it's done horribly and like the characters be blocky or just obnoxious looking.
I wish they would do more stuff like Young Justice.
Yeah,
and
that would be great. Animation was beautiful in that.
It looked like an updated version of the DC Animated Universe, where
where it should be.
Where like if the DC Animated Universe was animated today, it would be animated like Young Justice.
Yeah, and less of the CGI nonsense. And, like, I don't know, the plot's just weird, and I don't know.
So DC's winning. I don't see anything in the future that suggests Marvel will be winning on the animation front.
Yeah, but DC, I feel like they're winning in recent years just because Marvel hasn't output anything decent since Spectacular Spider-Man, and DC has something, like, good every once in a while, like Young Justice. I mean, they'll never, like, be at the peak as they were, like, with the whole large-scale animated universe, but they can still bring out stuff like Young Justice, so they're going to be winning for quite some time.
They're also going to be focusing more on the animated movie front, but
yeah, I think that's probably for the best. I enjoy the movies though, because like the shows, like I can take them or leave them. We've seen some good, we've seen some bad. So speaking of that, let's talk about the movies. All right, let's start with you want to start with live action or animated first?
We can start with animated. Just continue the trend.
Yeah. Okay, so animated movies. Okay, right off the bat, in my opinion, DC still stomps them. They're kicking their ass in the animated
Okay, first of all, that's because Marvel's not even trying.
Doesn't matter.
But I did see like a trailer for a new Iron Man movie. It's like Iron Man Rise of Technovore. It's like in anime style. I don't know what that's gonna be about. But that I'm just putting that out there.
But see, the thing is, Marvel isn't trying. That's such a big part of that. It's like, come on, act like you give a fuck.
Well, like DC, they've created basically like a franchise where like they said like, hey, we're gonna output a movie every like 6 months or something, and so like clockwork, they're doing it, and I'm enjoying a good amount of them so far.
Yeah, it's been more hits and misses.
Like I enjoyed All-Star Superman.
Yeah,
Superman
that's my favorite interpretation of Superman, by the way.
Superman versus the Elite. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy the ending so much, but yeah.
I enjoyed The Dark Knight Returns.
Surprisingly, part 1 and 2.
Yeah. We never read the original comic, but I can see why people liked it.
Yeah, before Frank Miller went off as rocker, it's just like it's one of those weird things that even as you're watching it, you don't feel like you should be liking it. It's just handled in such a way that you do, because it's not the greatest plot, if we're gonna be honest, and it's just like so Batman centric.
Crisis on Two Earths.
Yeah, definitely Crisis on Two Earths.
I like the Wonder Woman movie. I really liked that.
It was funny, witty, and it didn't depict Wonder Woman as, weak. It depicted her as a strong woman, kicking ass, taking names, and having a good time.
Yeah, it was an enjoyable movie. I wouldn't say it's a great movie, but it's just an enjoyable watch. It has good action.
Yeah, it was one of those ones where it was a hit, not a miss.
It was just like I was kind of like, I wouldn't mind like if they had just translated like this shot for shot into the live action movie. I could actually see
that would have been bomb. Yeah.
I could actually see live action Wonder Woman working out if they can make it something similar to what they did in the animated movie. And like, cause they had like a romance, but they didn't have Steve Trevor be like a damsel in distress, like a damsel in distress.
Yeah, I mean, he actually held his own. Like, he wasn't superpowered, and he realized it. He realized his limitations. But he's like, I can do something.
And it was good comic relief.
Yeah, he's a lot like Hal Jordan in recent years, like in First Flight.
Yeah. Oh,
that was another good one.
We like First Flight.
That was awesome. It approached Dragon Ball Z levels right into that. It was insane.
Yeah, we enjoyed. It was basically Training Day, but
yeah,
with superheroes, but
still good though. So I mean, we had Crisis on Two Earths, Green Lantern, First Flight. You mentioned The Dark Knight Returns, Part 1 and Part 2, All-Star Superman, Wonder Woman,
Superman vs. Lee.
Superman vs. Lee. Yeah. Any other ones out of that lineup? I mean, because there was a lot of good ones, but
there was some Superman Batman ones, but they
weren't great.
They weren't great. It's just like I like some of the action scenes in them.
Yeah, that's about it.
That's not. You can watch those on YouTube.
Yeah.
They didn't put out
Apocalypse was good, huh?
Yeah, Apocalypse.
It was alright.
It had some good parts.
Yeah, especially. The
end. That was one.
Yeah,
that was an awesome fight with Supergirl, Superman, and Darkseid.
Yeah, it got crazy. And she had, like, Supergirl, actually, she brought it in that fight.
That was a good.
She's like, yeah. She's like, I'm not going out like a bitch. Like,
if Man of Steel has a fight half as good as that one, then we're in for a treat.
I hope so. And they have a good chance to do something decent here after Superman Returns.
So yeah, some good movies. Any Marvel?
No. All the Marvel movies I've seen have sucked.
I remember I watched like I remember watching on TV or something like the Ultimate Avenger, like a storyline based on Ultimate Avengers, and it was just like, Yeah. It was just very meh.
And then the Hulk one was like, God. It was
Planet
painful,
Hulk.
Yeah. Although I did, to their credit, they actually made the Hulk not a dumbass in this one. Like, he actually formed full sentences. He actually spoke like a regular person, like he had some sort of intelligence.
Well,
so that was good. But
I was looking forward to that actually, because I thought that might be the start of like a line
right?
of movies, and then you had Planet Hulk and World War Hulk,
but they just sort of fizzled out.
And World War Hulk and Civil. I thought there would be like a line of animated movies after that.
I was actually hoping that they were gonna go World War Hulk, but they just stopped. Even though it wasn't great, they could have done something with it.
Yeah. Probably not enough people bought the movie, but
yeah, I don't think a lot of people knew about it. And then there was other like lesser known ones, but there was like a Hulk versus and
Wolverine.
Yeah, and they had like Wolverine and Thor in there versus him. And then there was
the Deadpool was in one of them.
Was he?
He was in one of the Hulk versus Wolverine movies, I think.
Because there was Hulk versus where there was like he fought several people in the movie. Like there was just set up.
Well, Deadpool was in one of those movies.
Okay.
Too.
Yeah. and might have been like an Iron Man one, I think. And then there was an Avengers one where it was like it was based in the future.
I'm surprised they haven't made a Deadpool like animated movie.
Yeah, surprise.
Because then you have more freedom, like put it out to DVD.
To do all the wacky shit.
And a lot of people, I bet you there's a lot of fans that would buy that DVD.
You might see it sooner or later.
They were planning on doing the movie, but apparently, like, there's problems, like, where they're not really, like, willing to go that far on the script or something. So I don't know what's going to happen.
If you're going to do Deadpool, you have to go that far.
And Ryan Reynolds, who was supposed to reprise his role, and he was supposed to wear the mask this time. But,
Go figure. Yeah.
But yeah, there's that.
I don't know. But I'm hoping that the video game that they come up with will be awesome.
Oh yeah, that could be a good Marvel game, actually.
Well, I'll tell you what, they had Deadpool in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and he's fucking hilarious. Like, I mean, one of the things he says when he loses is like, "You pressed the wrong button!" Like, he's just yelling as he dies. And then, like, there's another thing where he's like, "Here I am." Like, if you win with him, he's like, "I'm just working my ass off out here, and you're just sitting down. Using a controller." Like, wow. Yeah, that's some good stuff. But,
So,
there's not a lot of good animated Marvel movies. None, really. And, like, the sheer volume of DC movies compared to Marvel movies is insane. So, yeah, I think DC definitely wins there. And how about live action? Oh, yes. Tricky.
Okay, DC. Okay. You have probably the big elephant in the room, the Dark Knight trilogy, which a lot of people love the first two, and I feel like the third one's gotten so much backlash, it's ridiculous.
Which is surprising because it was really well received, I felt, when it came out.
It's gotten so much backlash of people talking about like, oh, it sucks and there's plot holes, and
Not really.
I'm like, yeah, it's like a guy taking over the city with a nuclear bomb. There's gonna be plot holes, of course, but like
it's also but you can't really call them plot holes, even though it's realistic for a comic book movie. It's a comic book movie. We're talking about a universe that has a billionaire fighting crime.
okay,
How realistic is it gonna be?
I just enjoyed it, like
Right?
I
don't think it was a plot hole. It's just like, okay, so what? That's not the most serious thing you could have done with it, but so what? I think that was actually probably the strongest of them. And we rewatched Dark Knight afterwards too.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. I don't know why people are so like angry about that movie or like dissing it so much. I mean, like, I'm kind of hoping in a couple years there'll be a backlash to the backlash.
Oh, there probably will be. I mean,
there's always something.
Because I think some people criticize it because it didn't have enough Batman in it. I'm like, it's about the whole damn universe, not just Batman. I actually thought it was a stronger movie because it wasn't purely just Batman.
It's more like the Gotham universe and the whole Batman universe, and I enjoy that aspect of it. Because like Batman's just not about Batman; it's about like the Batman. There's a lot of side characters that people enjoy about Batman, like Gordon and all those other people. And I like Catwoman in it.
Yeah, they actually did a very good job. And I swear, I say I like Catwoman not just because Anne Hathaway is hot and she was hot. She gave actually like a pretty damn good like performance. They wrote it well and she performed it well. And other characters, they worked pretty well too. Although I didn't like Commissioner Gordon this one, I didn't. But I mean, that's not enough to sink the movie. And I mean, you can't forget about Scarecrow. He's just funny in this one.
So then, yeah. Also DC
and Bane. Bane was decent in it.
I think the Superman movies, people the consensus is only the first two are good and the rest are crap.
And has it been like what, 5 so far?
Yeah, about 5.
Because
there's 4
1 through 4.
With
and then there's
Christopher
Returns, yeah.
And they're so the consensus is only the first 2 are good.
And because Superman Returns is horrible, and I think it's safe to say that the Batman trilogy beats out the old Batman stuff. And there's like 5 of the old Batman movies.
Yeah. There's Batman, and then there's Batman Returns. Well, those are two Tim Burton ones.
Yeah.
And
okay, so I 4.
I like the first Batman one with Tim Burton. I know you haven't seen that stuff in a while, so I'm not sure how good your memory is about that.
I might have to rewatch it, but from what I saw, I wasn't like a big fan.
I liked it enough. I didn't like as much as the Christopher Nolan Batman. But in Batman Returns, it's kind of, I think, more... I didn't really like it. A lot of people like that one because they think it's darker and stuff, and I just didn't like it.
Okay, so never mind. There was 4, not 5 of the old ones. Like, yeah. Okay, then there's Batman Forever.
And I don't like those.
Awkward. Right?
That was the one with... Is that the one
Jim
with...
Carrey is the Riddler.
Is that Val Kilmer, or...
I think by that point it's George Clooney. Right? He did the last 2.
Okay, Val Kilmer was in Returns.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and yeah, George Clooney. Oh my God, he didn't seem like Batman to me.
No, he's pretty much just George Clooney, like any of his other roles.
See, the thing is, like, I feel like I always felt like when Christian Bale put on the suit in the dark, he became like a different character.
Yeah, it was very different from the Bruce Wayne character.
I always felt like, yeah, that's Batman.
Yeah, and this wasn't the case. Batman Forever was a shitty movie. But you know what was shittier? Batman and Robin.
Yeah,
what the hell was that?
It's become infamously bad. Everyone, like, even the people
bad credit card.
Even the people that made it hate it.
Yeah, and that says something.
I saw something like Arnold Schwarzenegger, like the director. All of them were talking about how shitty the movie was. They know it was bad.
Yeah. And so, I mean, you have those franchises which are trying to, like, the new stuff is trying to overwrite that. You know?
One interesting thing was, like, I think Patrick Stewart was supposed to be Dr. Freeze. And doesn't that seem like the perfect guy to be Dr. Freeze?
You could have had, you would have pulled his tragic story down pretty well.
Doesn't he seem like with the bald head and everything? He seems perfect.
Better than Arnold Schwarzenegger.
And he sounds like an intellectual guy. He would have been a perfect Victor Freeze.
And yet they went with Arnold. Tisk. So yeah, that was horrible, but then I think the Nolan trilogy, I mean, you can't forget that shit, but it kind of makes up for it. It's like, hey, here's for making a shitty franchise.
I'm kind of hoping for the next Batman they do. They kind of leave in room that you believe that sci-fi or fantastical stuff. They keep it, like, decent, realistic enough, but they leave room for the sci-fi and fantastical so you can believe that he's in the same universe as Superman, or that there can be a Poison Ivy or someone like that in there. So you don't have to stick to the more realistic villains.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I do. I mean, it'd be interesting to see. Because you know they're going to do one. So, like, what else do they have? I mean, I feel like DC doesn't have a lot of live action. Just
Green Lantern.
They have some ones that come out in recent years. And like you said, Green Lantern, that wasn't great. That was only okay.
And there's still some question about whether that Green Lantern movie is going to be canon for the Justice League movie. I don't think they're going to go...
No.
Because in the movie, they put in Amanda Waller.
But they'll probably just ignore it, though.
Yeah, they probably will. And I think Ryan Reynolds says he will not return for Green Lantern in any future movies.
Well, yeah, I mean, that would be like... You probably could view that as a bad career choice if he did.
And the bad thing is, like, the suit is, like, so... Weird looking. I don't know who made the decision to make it a CG suit. It was the worst decision they could have made.
There was no need for that.
Then there's I kind of wish that, like, if they had just taken literally the script from Green Lantern First Flight, literally just take the script.
Well, see, that would have suggested they wanted to make a good movie.
Literally just take the script from Green and just like make it live action. It would have worked.
Yeah.
I don't, because like they made it like Earth centric, and Green Lantern is supposed to be like he's supposed to be a cosmic guy who's going around different planets, and he's to be a cop, and they showed that at First Flight.
Yeah.
Nothing.
So it's like, movie, you're not making good use of your space exploring hero. Way to go.
It's like, okay, I think that you don't save up for your good stuff later. You do your good stuff now.
Make an impression.
Because you may never get a chance to do it again.
Hence, like this. They may not get a good chance to do it again.
And they're too stupid to make a Justice League movie because they can't figure it out. They keep screwing it up.
It's not difficult. It can't be difficult. Like, I mean, oh my god.
But the rumors are saying right now that it all depends on how well Man of Steel does. If it does well, they're going to go ahead with the Justice League movie and maybe give it to Zack Snyder, who's directing Man of Steel, to do the Justice League movie as well. So I'm kind of hoping it's a good movie, it does well, and they just do a Justice League movie already.
Yeah, and speaking of DC, I mean, if you go to the untraditional route, you can count Watchmen in that. It is technically DC.
Yeah,
And I liked it.
I did like Watchmen.
Yeah, and honestly, I prefer the ending in the movie as opposed to the comic. And yes, I've read the comic.
Yeah, we talked about this.
I know, I'm just saying. I did prefer that better. Yeah, and I'm proud to say I had to read that comic for class. Yes. But okay, so besides that, I don't think there's much more to say about their live action movies. But I mean, if
There's some minor ones, but nothing
major.
Remember what was the? Oh God, I can't get his name in my head.
What?
You know, the cowboy guy. Do you remember this movie?
I know
who came back. Who comes? Oh my God, I can't think of this character's name. Yeah.
I know who you're talking about. It was someone with a J?
Oh, Jonah Hex. Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember how bad that looked? We never saw it, but it looked horrible.
Yeah. That was a DC one.
So that's a mark against them.
Yeah. And then, I mean, we could talk about the Marvel one. If I'm going to be so honest, I think at least in recent years, Marvel probably has taken lead. Let's talk about why. Or, I mean, do you agree? Or disagree?
Yeah. Well, that's because of the formation of the Marvel Entertainment Unit, where they made a conscious decision. Like after Spider-Man and X-Men and all that stuff, they noticed their heroes were making a boatload of money.
Yeah.
And so they made the conscious decision to take whatever characters they hadn't like hoard out and let for money. Well, now they're regretting the Spider-Man and X-Men stuff, like licensing them out to Sony and Fox.
Oh, but that was entertaining shit. But I mean, they are gonna have some problems with it. But I think they have come a long way too. I mean, they had their fair share of shit too. But yeah, come on, Captain America in 1991. Yeah, that was just funny.
So yeah, like when they made that conscious decision and they made Iron Man, they said we're gonna make this a high quality movie, even if he's considered a minor character right now.
And they did. I think they made a more popular result.
And they came up with the most ambitious plan. You know, we're
gonna
make a series
aggressive. They were just like, "Fuck it, we're gonna succeed." But go on.
If one of those movies had sucked, we might not have seen the Avengers. If only one of them had sucked, but yet they managed to make, what was it, like 4 decent movies? Yeah, 4 decent movies.
No,
Iron Man, Captain America, Incredible Hulk. No, the Incredible Hulk and Thor.
It's more like 3.5.
What's the half movie you don't like?
No, I didn't say I didn't like it. It's just like the Incredible Hulk. It was alright.
Okay, it was alright.
That was more like making up for the first one.
Yeah.
And that almost killed it.
Yeah, the Incredible Hulk was decent, I thought.
What? The original one?
No, the new one.
No, okay.
So the first one was called the Hulk, right?
Yeah.
In the reboot, it was called the Incredible Hulk.
Actually,
Yeah, the Incredible Hulk is the weakest of the new Marvel movies.
Okay, you know what? We'll count as a full one. We'll say there was 4. Because it was decent, and Edward Norton gave, I felt like, a good performance of, Bruce Banner. So, I'd say, okay, yeah, 4 whole movies, but definitely the weakest link. Because before that, you didn't see a lot of Marvel movies, but, the X-Men and Spider-Man, they really set off a lot of these ones. And you had those whole trilogies, and I thought they were entertaining, if nothing else.
Well, they created the superhero movie bubble. X-Men and Spider-Man.
Yeah, because I enjoyed the first X-Men, enjoyed the second one, and I enjoyed the third one, but for all the wrong reasons. That movie was just funny. Same with like Spider-Man. I thought the first one was okay, I thought the second one was alright, and the third one I enjoyed, again, for all the wrong reasons.
I love the third one.
It was hilarious.
I mean, like, I walked out of do you remember when I talked about like how I walked out of Hangover 2 and I'm like, it couldn't have been that bad.
And then you got home and like, oh god!
I remember like walking out of the theaters numb.
Yeah,
watching Spider-Man 3.
They killed Venom.
And I was like, it wasn't that bad, was it? And then it's like when I saw other people hating on it, I felt like some release in me. Like I wasn't wrong. I was hurt, man.
You were in denial of what that was. You're like, no, it could not have been that shit. It couldn't have been. They could not have given that little of a fuck.
It's like, have you ever seen the South Park episode where like they go to see Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull, and they're all in denial that they watched it, and they're like, we didn't see Indiana Jones get raped.
You can't unsee it,
It
people.
didn't happen. It didn't happen.
Yeah. But speaking of Spider-Man, I do think they almost made up for that with Amazing Spider-Man, which I think was pretty decent.
Yeah, there's a lot of hate on that one.
For no good reason.
It wasn't a great movie.
It wasn't a bad one either.
I actually prefer it to the
Original trilogy?
original trilogy. I know it's blasphemy for some people, but
Fuck them. Because that was good. I mean, they made good use of his abilities, and they actually made him witty like he damn well should be, because he's fucking Spider-Man. If he's not witty, what's the point?
well, there wasn't enough of that. But I felt that was just because he wasn't Spider-Man. He only became Spider-Man like halfway
Yeah.
through the movie.
But
and
there
so
was
enough
some
time.
of it, which is more that can be said than the trilogy. They didn't... Spider-Man wasn't Spider-Man. He was Tobey Maguire. Well, yeah, they could have been more wit there, but I definitely like the use of his powers. I thought the Lizard was a weird choice, but even though it was a very weird choice, and I would not have gone with that villain to reboot the franchise, it was actually a solid performance.
Oh yeah, another good Marvel movie, X-Men First Class. For some reason, that one gets forgotten.
It does get forgotten. That was actually pretty damn awesome.
That's the best X-Men movie.
Yeah, if you can get around ridiculous plot holes, yes.
Yeah, they don't explain stuff like why what's his name, Kevin Bacon gets young. I don't think they really explain that in the movie.
No.
You kind of have to make assumptions based on his powers and stuff, but it would have been better if they explained stuff like that a little bit more. But I enjoyed it.
It's pretty good. And that's actually on like the second stage, like, because it's like before the Spider-Man reboot, there was an X-Men reboot, and you know,
And I'm looking.
I forgot certain reviews, you know.
Yeah, and if you read the stuff about X-Men Days of Future Past,
Should be interesting.
it looks insane. They're bringing back like all the people from the original movies, and like almost all of them. And so you're gonna have like you're gonna have Storm in it. You're gonna have Wolverine in it. You're gonna be having Jean Grey in it, and all those characters. Iceman, even the guy who played Iceman. So like even for cameos or whatever.
This is crazy.
And so it's gonna be insane. And
I'm looking forward to seeing it, and I got to rewatch First Class someday.
if they manage to pull it off, it'll be crazy.
Yeah, if they manage. But as well as First Class fan, high hopes for that. And then you get to the main Avengers sort of stuff. So, I mean, I think those are like the best that Marvel is like doing. I mean, they did solid reboots of X-Men and Spider-Man, and I'm looking forward to both of the sequels with that. And we know that like Electro's going to be getting a second Spider-Man, so that should be interesting. And then you get to the core, and they're doing a pretty good job with that too. I mean, you got some things like the over the years, like Fantastic Four, in its sequel, they were mediocre. And then when you get to that core, right, Iron Man was, in my opinion, surprisingly enjoyable. I wasn't expecting to enjoy myself when I saw that movie.
Iron Man 2, I don't think it's a bad movie, but it's
I
like,
liked it.
but it wasn't something I was like, I want to rewatch this ever.
Well, I mean, it's the same with the first one. I wasn't like, I have to rewatch that either. It's just like, I enjoyed both of them, and that was it.
Yeah, the first half of Iron Man, I like to rewatch, but like the second half, it gets weak, when the guy's revealed as a villain and then he becomes standard fare, that's when it becomes like,
Yeah. And then the second one, I don't know, there were some good parts and some bad parts, and it's just like, it was decent overall, though. I enjoyed myself, and I mean, come on, Scarlett Johansson, like, kicking ass as a redhead, that's awesome. But with both of those movies, I'm like, okay, not bad. I enjoyed them. I hadn't really gone on my way to see those again, but I thought that was a very strong start. And I was, actually, most of these movies, I gotta say, surprised me. Because Incredible Hulk, like, we ended up watching that just so we could see how it was compared to the original, and it's like, wow, this almost makes up for the other one, and you kind of forget that the other one happened. And it's kind of like a loose sequel / reboot. And it was pretty good, like, for a Hulk movie, you know? And then I was surprised by Thor, because Thor is a shitty character in comics. Like, it's boring.
yeah, it's pretty bland and
Not really much going on there. And then they actually gave him a personality in this one. Made it interesting, although I cannot stand all the Loki fangirls. I blame Avengers for that. And then Captain America. You know I don't like Captain America. I can't fucking stand that guy. And yet, the movie, they made it work.
Yeah.
So all these movies, I was shocked. You know? They were all like characters I don't care about. And they made it work.
Yeah, I mean, having the part in the Captain America where he's the underdog and he's using his brains and stuff.
Yeah, kind of. a little different from the usual. We just gotta give him the serum already. And
It kind of made more like, this guy, he's the guy that deserves to get it instead of just like, oh, he's the test guy.
Because in this case, like, even though you're still like, really, that's where he gets superpowers, serum. You're like, at least he was ballsy before, you know? He's willing to go in even though he was weak.
What?
Then there's the Avengers. And my God, when I saw it, you know, I'm like, let's see if this is overrated. On some level, maybe, but I think it deserves its credit for the most part.
Because I don't think we've seen something where like the whole like I think we have this idea in our heads about like how a superhero team up should go and how like if we saw like a superhero team descend and fight together it'd be like, and that last part where they're fighting together in New York is just so mind-blowingly awesome. You're like,
they really came together. And, you know, you actually did feel like Loki got what he deserved.
Yeah, it's like a superhero. You watch a superhero team realized, and you're like, wow, this is nothing like I've seen before.
Yeah, and it's also, you know why I hate the Avengers, like the team in the comics and how they're normally portrayed. I feel like here, they took the weaknesses that comes with that team and actually made it a strength. Like, literally and figuratively here. Because, you know how it's like, okay, these people are so dysfunctional they should never be able to work together. Here, they're well aware of that. And they get past it. They move on because they know that the whole world is at stake. And it's like, I thought that was interesting because you see how fucked up they are together.
Well, I think I think the problem with the Avengers works better if like the idea of an Avengers movie, like what they're doing in the Marvel universe is they only come together when there's certain events so great that no single person can handle, which was the original premise of the Avengers.
Yeah,
which is like
it's too powerful.
Where it's like. Which they put at the beginning of like all the comics. They're like, there came a time when the Earth faced a threat so great that no single hero could face, and thus the Avengers was born.
Yeah, but too bad they didn't stick with that. Yeah, so they did a really good job of that. I mean, it was action oriented. They had a good plot. So you had a good plot, good action, and actually it was quite funny. Several parts. So I enjoyed that, and I look forward to seeing the second one. And I still can't stand the excessive Loki fandom when I feel like a lot of other characters in that movie were way better handled than Loki.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, I think they got lucky and they got Joss Whedon, who's somebody who's used to his entire like every show he does is about juggling a cast of characters as a team and about how they interact as a team. You see that in Firefly and Buffy. And I know you didn't watch Buffy, but that was part of it.
Actually, I saw quite a bit of Buffy.
Okay.
Not all of it, mind you. I didn't go out of my way to see it, but I've seen some episodes here and there. I don't know. Yeah, so I know what you mean, though.
Yeah, so that came into the Avengers, and he was able to work that in and figure it out.
And, of course, as you know, he's written for the X-Men for a period of time, too. So he's definitely got that whole team, because, like you said, Buffy, Firefly, he's written for the X-Men, he's written for other comics, too. So he's pretty good at the whole team dynamics.
So, yeah.
I mean, they were not fucking around getting him that.
So Marvel versus DC animation, like, Marvel's on top right now. I mean, action,
live action.
Live action, God, we're screwing up today.
Yeah. It's alright. They're sitting comfortably on top right now.
Yeah, so...
Because, yeah.
I think DC's kind of riding all their hopes on Man of Steel, and that will like start the regenesis of like not just relying on Batman to like hold up the world like Atlas, but like to get some other characters in there. Like I guess if they have Superman do well in Man of Steel, they're gonna go ahead with the Justice League movie, and then they'll reboot the characters out of Justice League and have them come up their movies out of Justice League.
So though I think that's a little backwards, but
so they may be doing the opposite of the Marvel approach because they don't have like 4 years to wait because by then another Avengers movie will come out, right?
Yeah, but I mean,
I think if they start Justice League movie now,
I don't think it'll make it in time.
There will be Avengers 2 by then, and so then you can't use Darkseid, and
Well, it might just happen anyway, so they should just probably do what Marvel did. It'd be like, I think, the smarter thing to do in that
You
situation.
just take their time and patience and...
Because Marvel is going to be consistently chugging these things out for a while. They're going to have that competition no matter what they do in the next couple of years. So they just say, fuck it, because the Justice League, it might not bring as many people as they think. But if they do these little bits, right, they might have the people coming in little by little, or they might see some character like, oh, I haven't seen a movie about this character in a while, or like that. And you know what? Shit, there needs to be a Flash movie. There does. Live action and animated. But, so they might do stuff like that, or Wonder Woman and other stuff, and they might do a reboot of Green Lantern, but, I mean, they have to do better than what they've been doing with that. And I don't think just having a Justice League will just do it.
I don't think they'll do another Green Lantern movie until they do a Justice League movie, and if the
fine.
Justice League movie.
I could see that one, because they've already had one, and they could maybe do the reboot out of that. It's not going to be difficult, because, it's like, oh, it could be a different universe, and also there's different Green Lanterns. But I think to do the Justice League first and then have the origins or, other movies come out of that, it just seems backwards, which it is. Because you want to do like that approach, like the building up. But I do think that if they do get to a point where they're doing decent movies like Marvel is, it'll be a while. So Marvel's still going to have, like, the crown for a while. And it just is what it is.
But it's weird, like, I think the other movie coming out is Wolverine later, but that looks alright. I'll watch it. They got ninjas.
He didn't watch the first one.
That's a mark against Marvel.
It was entertaining, but not because they tried to make it entertaining.
But yeah, like the thing is, like I think Man of Steel is actually the superhero movie I'm looking forward to most this summer.
Kick-Ass 2.
Man of Steel,
You don't count that?
Man of Steel still for me.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. What else is coming out with a superhero movie this summer, though?
Well, it's just Iron Man 3 and Wolverine, I think.
Okay.
And then Thor's coming out, but...
Oh, yeah.
But I'm still, even if you include Thor, I'm still more interested in Man of Steel.
Yeah, because, you want to see what they do with it. With Thor, you're already expecting that it's going to be at least decent.
Yeah, I think it could be another Iron Man 2.
Probably will be.
Where it's just like, it's not as good as the first one. But, so yeah, Marvel's on top on that one.
Yeah. But, I mean, DC doesn't get the bitch about that, because Marvel isn't really trying, as you put it, on the animated front. And even if they were, I don't think they could honestly compete with the level that DC is at right now.
And the other thing is, like,
so
DC,
fair enough.
They're not churning out enough to compete.
They're not. They're taking their time.
The only thing they've done consistently is the Batman movies.
And that took a while.
And so...
Because what, 7 years for the trilogy?
Something
Right?
like that.
Because it came out in 2005, I want to say, like Batman Begins. 2004 or 2005.
Alright, something like that.
Yeah, so 7 or 8 years. But in either case, it's a long time.
Hopefully they'll get their act together and stop acting like idiots. But
yeah, because right now, like, you can't really count most of their, like, old stuff as good, so you pretty much have the Dark Knight trilogy carrying the weight, whereas Marvel, they have the Avengers, they have the individual movies that compose the Avengers, they have X-Men rebooted, they have Spider-Man rebooted, both of which are good. So they have several characters, several teams. They're winning.
Okay, and so I guess, like, to conclude, I mean, is there anything else we want to talk about with DC versus Marvel?
Not really, because, I mean, the other thing that we could do would be, like, the books themselves, but I don't read the regular books enough.
We don't want to,
because they don't really intrigue me, and there's so much out there. It's kind of like the Star Wars, so, like, I don't care. Although I will say, like, I did enjoy, like, one X-Men series a while back, that was it. It was like a book, but that was it.
So I guess, like, just to reiterate, like, you don't need to pick a DC or Marvel.
Yeah.
Just pick whatever's best. What's the best character, best story for
because,
you?
like, in general, right, you can't really pick and have that actually mean anything, because there's a lot of back and forth from both sides. But as far as shows and the movies, it's a little bit more definitive, like who's winning or whatever. But you still don't have to, like, pick one. You can still see a little bit of everything. Like, we might say that Marvel has a better live action, but we certainly checked out DC movies too. So
yeah, I mean, like Marvel may have the better live action movies, but there's still the Dark Knight stuff that's good. And DC has a DC animated universe and Batman Beyond and all that stuff. But coming from Marvel is Spectacular Spider-Man, which is good property.
True.
So like, neither are consistent across the board in all their stuff.
Yep, because you have parts that rock and parts that suck all across the board.
In every medium, for every character, for every show, there's good stuff and bad stuff in both, and you don't need to side with one. I'm not siding with one. I don't think either is like better than the other.
Yeah. So pretty much, who wins Marvel versus DC? It's very situational. No one wins outright.
We win because usually someone's putting out something decent, I think.
Yeah. If it's not one, it's the other, or it's both.
I think we live in a good time where where people are willing to watch superhero movies, and I enjoy watching superhero movies.
Likewise.
And apparently the public enjoys watching it.
Which is weird to think about, but yeah.
Even though they might not know as much as us about these characters, they're still going to see the movies, and as long as they do, we're going to have these awesome movies. And I hope they keep it up.
Yep, they want to please the public. And they're going to keep it up for a long time, if nothing else.
Well, I'm hoping the public keeps watching it so they keep getting made. Or because we could go back to having that crappy Captain America from the 90s or whatever.
I'm going to be sick.
I have faking illnesses to like steal people's cars.
Yes, we remember we can't take this for granted because we could always end up back there.
True story.
The public may turn on superheroes, like in the superhero registration acts and stuff. The day may come with superheroes banned. So we should enjoy this moment with Avengers and Avengers 2 and possibly a Justice League movie and Man of Steel and all this. Because it may disappear.
Yeah, they'll have some apocalyptic storyline, future superhero movies of.
I'm not sure where you're going there.
I was going somewhere with it. It didn't go somewhere else. Superhero movies of future past. That doesn't work. You know where I was going with it.
Yeah, X-Men Days of Future Past.
Yeah.
Which I mean, like, think about it. That movie, doesn't that sound like it has going to have a ginormous scale?
Yeah, they're going to have to really be careful.
2 timelines, all these characters.
They're going to have to be really, really careful.
That couldn't have been made 20 years ago.
Nah. It might not be able to be made so well now, but we'll see.
Hey man, like, I'm willing to believe in anything after they managed to pull off the Avengers. Because at the end of Iron Man, people are like, there's no way they're pulling it off. But they did it.
And wow.
So why not X-Men Days of Future Past?
Why not?
I'm for go DC, Marvel. I'm rooting for whoever does. As long as you do well, I root for you.
Yep. So whoever doesn't suck. Alright, I think that wraps that up.
Alright, I'm Cameron.
And I'm Jordan.
This was Crash the Mood.